Hello, and welcome to today's movie review. Today we're going to look back at the cinematic universe that was started with 2013's Man of Steel. We're going to be doing this in honor of the upcoming film SHAZAM. So the movies that we are going to look at today are The Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, The Dawn of Justice, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and Aquaman. Before we get started, I did want to mention that I have absolutely no expectations of a lot of tie-ins to this cinematic universe for Shazam. They will be there. The trailers have shown Batman items and Superman clip-outs, but I don't expect any direct references like Superman showing up or Batman showing up. I do expect some of these films to be mentioned, much in the way that Aquaman mentioned Justice League. Also, if you are looking for a specific film that we're going to be talking about, I will put timestamps in the description below for each film. And we're going to start with Man of Steel. This film is all about how Clark becomes Superman and everything that happens leading up to that moment when he feels that he is actually Superman and knows what he wants, the kind of man he wants to be. The film is inconsistent, specifically with the Kryptonians and their power sets and how they get their powers. There are some times where it feels that it's more than just solar radiation, that it also takes into effect the atmosphere. It was just kind of confusing once you truly looked at what was going on with it. Though, I will admit the one thing that I thought worked above all else was the portrayal of Lois Lane. The way Amy Adams played her, she's intelligent and she's diligent to the point that she is able to figure out without anyone telling her exactly who Superman is and where he comes from. To me, that is the pinnacle of the way Lois Lane should be portrayed. Next on our list is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. And there are a few versions out there. I am specifically going to be talking about the Ultimate Cut. This is a direct sequel to Man of Steel, and it picks up like right during the final battle, showing you what Bruce Wayne is doing during that time. The prelude in the film shows Batman becoming Batman, and it felt unnecessary, like it could have been said in dialogue between Alfred and Bruce. Just felt like it didn't need to be there. Speaking of Alfred, though, I have to commend Jeremy Irons on his performance as Alfred. After seeing Michael Caine in the Dark Knight trilogy, I didn't think there was anywhere that Alfred could go. And Jeremy Irons plays him in a way that I kind of want to see more of him. I'm hopeful that he returns. While we're talking on performances, there was a strange one, and that was of Jesse Eisenberg and his portrayal of Lex Luthor. The character is just so far out there that he seems like he's crazy, but once we get farther and farther into the movie, it's more of a public face that he has, and it's just awkward to see Lex Luthor be pretty crazy, and I'm not really a big fan of it, but I understand the route that he went and why he would go that way. Batman throughout the film and really the universe itself takes a lot of flack for how violent he is. He puts machine guns on the Batmobile. He violently beats up a gang of thugs in one of the final showdowns. And it just, I'm not going to say he's not my Batman. He is portrayed in a way that he's different, and that's not a bad thing. This universe never set up Batman as not being violent. So it works in that kind of aspect, even though it kind of feels away from the Batman that we know. The film does feel like it drags on a little bit. And it attempts to open the universe by introducing us to Wonder Woman, who, gotta say, that theme is pretty sweet. I use it as a ringtone to this day. But it drags on and ends up making the film muddled and messy. And it could have been a lot shorter. Suicide Squad actually has a lot of the same issues as Batman v Superman. It's disjointed in editing, overly long character intros. There's a future storyline that's teased that will probably never come to fruition based on all the changes that have made. Its cast was actually a highlight, though. With Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, Will Smith's Deadshot, even Jared Leto's Joker, they were well done. And for the most part, they stayed true to the characters that I know of anyway. They put in a performance that's worth watching. Speaking of characters, though, I do have one problem with the Harley-Joker relationship. The film shows Harley wanting to be in this relationship, even though it is clearly toxic for her. Joker, though, fights with about how he feels and how he handles his emotions towards her. That's not the relationship that I look at when I see Harley and Joker. What I prefer is more of a Joker who doesn't really care about Harley. He uses her for what he wants and her loving him for it. But what I like about the Joker-Harley relationship is that Joker usually just uses Harley for whatever he wants. He uses her love and admiration to bolster his plans and then just throws her away at the end of the day. But at the same time, Harley loves him for it. And it's not until she gets around her friends like Poison Ivy and Catwoman that break that toxic relationship and that cycle of her going back to him. I'm hopeful that with the Birds of Prey movie that is on the schedule, that this is something that they do based on the subtitle. This film does work, though, as a team film. It builds the team, it gets to where we want to go, but at the end, it's a guy who shoots really good and a girl with a baseball bat going up against a magic lady who dances. The music's fine. I enjoy the music. It's just the way this film is put together, it feels like a cheap knockoff of James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. This brings us to arguably the best film in the whole series, Wonder Woman. It's set about 100 years before the events of Batman v Superman during World War I. This is a movie about Diana coming into her own and what it means to go from the island of Themyscira to man's world and basically turning everything upside down. And it's epitomized specifically in one scene. She's walking through trenches with a dark cloak, and as soon as that light bulb goes off, she sheds her cloak. She's in very bright, colorful armor, and she destroys everything around. It's a fight scene that's probably got a little too much slow-mo for my taste, but other than that, it's amazingly beautiful. It's a perfect metaphor for her shedding her insecurities and embracing what she needs to do to be able to fulfill her mission. I love the music. It doesn't have anything crazy like Guardians of the Galaxy did, and it sits to the same kind of tone that was used in Batman v Superman for her theme, and it just works throughout the course of this film. Justice League was actually better than I actually remember from the theatrical release. I did have some problems, though. There's, of course, trouble with CGI. The villain is more of a plot device than a real character. The over-sexualization of Wonder Woman and the Amazons really bothered me. It felt that they were being used more for eye candy. There are a couple of high points, though. The Flash and the Speed Force, the way they show it, it's amazing. The crackle of lightning is a great way to show really how Flash uses his powers. And then the duality that's shown within Cyborg was a welcome sight. They made him a complex character fighting with himself and his humanity and being more than just a machine. Now, these two characters, along with Aquaman, bring in more comedy to this universe, and it is vastly needed. It started to cheer up a little bit, and it made it enjoyable. Almost, I'm not going to say it's a good film, but I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. Now, this brings us to our most recent release, Aquaman. With its comic book accurate outfits, it feels different to the other films. While it does spend a lot of time underwater, this forces you to suspend your disbelief in what can be done. And there are some times where the CGI doesn't help. Kind of wavy, a little flat, kind of rubbery, but that doesn't really pull out from the film because the comedy and the story, it just makes it feel like a breath of fresh air when looking at the previous 5 films. I will also put a link in the description of my full Aquaman review. So this brings us to the future of the universe, as it's kind of shrouded right now, but there are a handful of releases that are coming that range from essentially right now through August of 2021. This is going to include films like SHAZAM, Birds of Prey, The Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, Wonder Woman 1984, The Batman, and The Suicide Squad are all set to be released within that time window. It's unclear right now whether these films are going to be part of the universe or not, but it feels like they will be, as the 3 films have shown either characters that have already been in the universe, or the trailers have shown scenes from other films within their trailers. Based on how the universe is evolving and progressed from Man of Steel to Aquaman, it feels like Warner Brothers and DC are choosing to evolve their universe instead of cutting ties and rebooting it, which I feel is a great idea. It helps you keep an eye on the future while not forgetting where you came from. Overall, as a series, I've enjoyed it. Each film has its own audience, and there is no denying that. Batman v Superman leans more to a mature audience. Aquaman allows for a wider audience to laugh and have fun. But we also see Wonder Woman giving girls someone to look up to and to aspire to be like. And a group of bad guys who grow in not only their friendship, but who they want to be as people. Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, and Aquaman are the best of the series. They're worth watching at least once to make up your own mind on, and it'll be interesting to see how they tie together with the new movies that have already been announced. With that being said, I'm curious on what you thought. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know how you feel about it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. And for more conversation on pop culture and movies and video games, go ahead and check out my social media. The links are also in the description. And until next time, have a great night.